What's up, everyone? The first two episodes of WandaVision just dropped on Disney Plus a few days ago, so I figured it was a perfect time for me to share my thoughts and review them. One quick disclaimer, in this video I'm going to be talking hard spoilers for the first two episodes of the shows, so you have been warned. So going into the show, I didn't really know what to expect from it. Obviously I was excited as the first thing we've gotten out of the MCU in about a year and a half or so. Since Spider-Man Far From Home. But at the same time, I thought the concept of the show wasn't that intriguing from what we heard about it, and from what we saw in the trailer overall, I just wasn't really excited to it, especially when you compared it to the other shows like the Falcon and Winter Soldier show and the Hawkeye show. I didn't think this one was going to hold up to them. So overall, I wasn't very excited for this one. But immediately when I started watching this show, I thought it blew me away. Episode 1 starts off with Scarlet Witch and Vision. They appear to be in like the 50s in like a sitcom type TV show. I think it was the 50s. It could have been. I'm not too educated on the early TV shows, but my guess is the 50s. And it appears they can't remember who they are. They're just kind of in the show with their superpowers. And the plot of the episode is fairly generic, as Vision, who has a job, he invites his boss over to his house for dinner, and shenanigans ensue for them, with them trying to hide their powers and trying to act normal when obviously they're not normal compared to a human being. And that was really the plot of the first episode. Overall, I found it to be quite funny and entertaining. But the real meat of the episode came at the end when it kind of showed this like computer or TV screen. And it revealed that it was really somebody was almost like controlling Scarlet Witch in the screen, where it was somebody was like kind of making the television show, or that's how I took it. And so that was episode 1. The second episode appeared to advance another decade until my guess is the 60s. Obviously their hairs were different, the set was a little different, the whole style was a little different. This episode's plot was about Vision and Scarlet Witch. They were doing a magic show for the town, and then all the drama ensues when Vision got messed up because he swallowed a piece of gum at work, and that got into his gears, and it messed him up, kind of like a generic like 60s plot of like a robot. And essentially, so at the magic show, they're trying to hide their powers as Vision's kind of messed up and like doing superhero things with his superpowers, and Scarlet Witch is trying to kind of like hide it and stop him from doing it, and then she fixes him at the end. He goes back to normal. But once again, the main part of this episode is kind of the like clues we get at what's happening. And one part was Scarlet Witch found a shoe in a bush outside, and that was colored, or I think it was a shoe. It may have been something else, but that was in color while everything else was not in color. So I took that as kind of there's like a glitch in wherever we are, wherever if it's like a simulation or something. It was kind of like a glitch. Obviously, I'm not sure. We don't get too much info, but definitely intriguing as to why that was happening. And then after the talent show or the magic show, this is where the episode and the show as a whole really got confusing, as they got home and Wanda was pregnant all of a sudden. I don't believe she was pregnant before then, but she was like visually pregnant. And then Vision hears a noise outside. He goes out, and there's a exterminator or a guy in a hazmat suit comes out with like bugs surrounding him. Comes out of the sewers, and then Wanda says no, and then the show rewinds back to when she tells Vision she's pregnant, and instead of him hearing a noise outside, they kiss, and then everything comes into color all of a sudden, which to me was the show advancing a decade. And then this episode ended with showing the TV or computer monitor again, and this time someone was asking Wanda, who's doing this to you? And so that was really the big kind of like mystery of the episode. So overall, I really did enjoy the first two episodes of WandaVision. I'm really excited to see where this show goes next, as obviously we have a new episode 3 coming out soon. The concept of them being on a TV show I thought was pretty cool, unique, and intriguing. I thought the show was certainly funny at times. There was a lot of jokes in there. And the show overall as a whole definitely exceeded my expectations, though my expectations weren't super high going in this show. As I mentioned earlier, I wasn't too excited for it. But overall, obviously, I thought the stories for the episodes were good. The acting was good. I thought everything was solid as usual. The MCU, all MCU projects tend to be very polished and complete. But the main thing that worked for me in this show was just how confusing it was. So throughout the show, you're constantly asking questions as to what's happening, and for me at least, that kept me involved in the show. That made me able to enjoy it just that much more. And overall, I'm just super excited to see where this show goes next, because obviously the show's offered us so many questions, but it's given us pretty much no answers. We're asking questions like, where's Wanda? What's up with Vision? Is he alive? Is he dead? We don't know. He's there, clearly. Who's doing this to her? Obviously, as suggested in the show. And is she aware of what's happening to her? Or that was one of the big questions for me. Does she know what's happening to her? Is she like seeing this? And all these questions and no answers. So for me personally, stuff like this gets me really into a show where I'm constantly guessing what's going to come next and predicting, and I'm able to talk about what I think is going to happen next. That makes me think about a TV show more. Where typically I'm not a huge fan of television. I don't watch a lot of television. I mainly only watch kind of the mainstream stuff to stay in tune. But this show has me really intrigued. As for guessing what's going to happen next, it's fairly hard to guess, obviously. As I mentioned, we got lots of questions and no answers. But right now, if I was to guess, I would say Wanda's in some form of simulation, and obviously the bad guy or the villain of the show is controlling her. I would say Vision's probably still dead. I would say it seems like Wanda does know what's happening to her. To what extent, I'm not sure, but it seems like she was at least aware of some of this. But obviously, we have very little details on what's happening, so that's just a guess. It's really hard to call exactly what's going to happen at this time. And that will do it for my thoughts and review of the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. I certainly cannot wait for the next episode that's going to come out in a couple of days. And thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the like button, subscribing, or commenting. It's much appreciated anyways. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.